Hello, everyone. This is Jeanette Martin of MYBC Consulting coming to you live once again on a Tuesday night. Oh, I just lost my author. Jesse, you're, there he's back. For another edition of the MYBC Virtual Bookstore Author Series. And that's where I chat with authors and find out why they wrote their book, the topic of the book, and how their book is going to help somebody out there. And I'm excited because I'm chatting with Jesse, and I'm trying to remember, Jesse, who introduced us? Who said for us to connect? Was it Lachelle?
Lachelle, yes.
Yeah. Oh, she's like a super duper connector. So
For sure.
She sent me so many beautiful authors to have a chat with. And when I was digging into your bio, oh, you know what? I'm going to pause there for a second. First of all, Jesse, introduce yourself. Where are you coming in from? What do you do for a living? And then we'll get into chatting about books.
Absolutely. So my name is Jesse Cruz. I am located outside of Rochester, New York. I'm a professional speaker, storytelling coach, and best-selling author.
Wow. Yes. And when I was digging into the book, you sent me the cover of the one book that we're going to talk about, but you're a two-time best-selling author. Is that correct? When I did my research today?
Well, so I mean, my book went number one in different categories. So technically, yes. And then the third one is currently being worked on. So that's a little secret I'm just going to share out to your exclusive audience. I haven't really shared that publicly till right now, but there is a third book in the works, and I just felt on my heart to just share right now. So that one's currently being worked on.
Oh, beautiful. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty, so my internet is a little unstable, so I hope it stays good. So I would love to unpack your first book. I believe it is the one about the 8 F's.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Where did the idea of this book come from? And please tell the title, because I'm saying only a portion of what that title is, and it's a fascinating title.
So the name of the book is Live Your Dash, Discovering the 8 F's to Freedom. And for the people who don't understand what the dash is, if you've ever been to, seen a tombstone, the date you're born is on the left, the date you pass away is on the right, and the date in the middle is the dash. And that's what you do with the time that you've been given here on this earth.
Wow. You know what? I've never really thought of it like that, but I've been to many tombstones and graveyards, and you see that. So the 8 F's, what are a couple of them, and why did you choose to, what's that called? I think use an alliteration in teaching, and you chose all the F's. So what's some of the F's in your methodology for that book?
Yeah, I mean, so the very first chapter goes right into focus, because I truly believe where your focus is, that's where your entire life heads in that direction. So I use a reference in the book that your life moves in the direction of your strongest thoughts. So you basically become what you think about all day long. And so whatever you're focusing on, you're leaning in towards, whether that's good or bad. So it's very important to guard your thoughts and make sure that they're healthy, because if they're not, they can stray you down a challenging path. But on the flip side, if you choose to think the right thoughts, that can bring you on the right path and provide you with the right opportunities in life. So I always start the book off with focus, because to me, that's where everything starts.
I'm going to pause just for a second, because Jesse, you'll find this will be the most unusual conversation that you'll have with anybody, because I have a bit of squirrel syndrome, and as things come up, I like to unpack them as they come top of mind. So your background, you look like you're not a young man, but a middle-aged man. And what is your background that led you to want to write this type of book?
Right. So I actually started writing this book so I'm going to just rewind. And so back in 2017, my wife and I, we had been trying to have a child for years. And, I was very discouraged because it just wasn't happening after years. And then finally one day we got confirmation that we were pregnant. And
Mhm.
so I was so excited about it. And then during that process, our child was premature. So
Mm.
when she was born, she was supposed to be born in May, and she was actually born in January. So she was like extremely premature to the point of where she really had a very low percentage of being born alive.
Mhm.
So when she was first born, it was literally just a miracle that she survived. And then so every day after that, her health was in such a fragile condition. We just never knew if she was going to make it another day or not. So
Mhm.
I would watch, we would be in the hospital all the time. And that's basically, we like lived there. And so we would watch her do well and then celebrate those small wins. And then we would watch her flatline right in front of us and then watch doctors come in and save her and then watch her flatline again. And that became routine. And then one day she flatlined for the final time. And we left that hospital room empty handed. And when I left, I was completely devastated,
Mhm.
crushed for what I just experienced. And I sought a lot of help and I had a great support network of people. And I decided that I have a story to tell, which we all do.
Mhm.
And I just know I needed to write. I didn't know what I was going to write about, but I just know that I needed to write to get my feelings out. And so
Mhm.
every single day I started writing. And then, so I got to thank my daughter because of her life. Watching her fight every single day made me want to fight for my own too, and just keep on writing to help other people heal and to help myself.
So this is the book that's Losing Hope, Finding Faith.
Right. So the first book, that backstory is what led me into writing. Now those
Oh,
8F, yeah. So that's what just led me into the writing,
okay.
right? And so that first book wasn't necessarily about her life. It was just about things that I've experienced in my life that got me through a hard time. Whether
Ah.
focus or family or friendship or fitness and fun. Those are all some of the F's that I include in the book. And then my second book, Losing Faith, Finding Hope, was about her life and our experience from the time
Mm.
she was born till now.
So you've gotten two books under your belt in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Wow. So pardon my there for a second because I heard you start going into the story about the second book and I thought we had a bit of a disconnect there. Wow. So the methodology to apply your life in order to get through was the 4 F's. And I have to wonder at any time, and this is going to sound a little weird, but did you ever want to have like the ninth F and just say F it all? Like just walk away, F it all. And it's like, why or why the F, as we WTF a lot of times, we sit back in life and go, what the F? What the F? So how did you address that? Because I'm pretty sure there was a few what WTF moments that cropped up.
Yeah. So I almost quit writing that book so many times. I just wanted
Mm.
to give up. It was too much for me. I was brand new. I had these limiting beliefs about myself that I wasn't smart enough. I didn't have the right resources. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the education. I didn't have the training. I didn't know any publishers. I didn't know any editors, and no one's ever going to read this. So those are the thoughts that haunted me through this journey. But I think we all have experiences in life where we tell ourselves that we're not good enough at something. But what gets you through those moments of doubt is when you remember your why. And I had to remember why I was doing it. And that's what got me through to keep on writing when I felt like giving up.
There's many times that like I help people with their W5 story, their who, their what, their where, their when, their why, just telling their true story to get it out on social media and just be yourself and put it out there. And I often say that our why is when we wake up and we start the phraseology, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to wake up today. And today I get to. Today I get to connect with Jesse today. Today I get to have conversation with people all over the world. And it's the when moments. And I think in our life that we share, and yours with your book, me teaching people how to share it on, so, you know, their life, their business on social media, that fuels our why. It's those when deep moments, where deep focus, deep faith, deep fun, deep, like those when moments that you could go back to and wrote in your book in order to share with yourself to keep you focused and keep your why. That's beautiful. I love the alliteration. Now, I didn't know about that book because the book, like I said, the book that you sent me that I thought we were going to chat about was Losing Hope, Finding Faith. How is the book structured? How is the dash book, you're living your dash book structured? Workbook style, story style? How is a reader going to utilize the book, and who is your reader for that book?
Yeah, so the way that book is structured, it's actually structured. They're both structured similarly in the fact that I use very short chapters. So like the first book, that is structured. I think I have about 180 little sub chapters.
Okay.
So it's a different topic almost every page. And the reason I did that is because I had so many ideas that I wanted to share, and I wanted to make sure I got those in all those 8 different areas of my life and how they impacted me, and I saw them impact others. And so that book was really designed for people who were looking for direction and guidance and really wanted to get to that next level of success. And so that was my ideal reader.
So kind of an odd question. So today, as an example, what F did you work on today in your life?
So I think that all 8 of them every day, but if I were to pick one in particular, I would say for me, it would have to be faith.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. So let's go on to your next book, Losing Hope, Finding Faith. And I'm going to attempt to not tear up. It sounds like a very heartfelt book. And the reason why you wrote that book and took pen to paper or fingers to keyboard to share that story, because it's quite a heartbreaking story.
Yeah, I think going in out of that hospital room with no baby to hold, no car seat to load, only thing I carried with me was grief. And I felt so lonely, and no one understood me, and no one could ever relate to the pain that I was going to because it was stored up so deep in my heart. I kept it all in, and I was ready to explode. There was moments in my life where I didn't feel like living no more. I felt like I lost my purpose completely because I was so wounded, and like my heart shattered into a million pieces. And just when I thought it healed, it would like shatter all over again. And the pain was so unbearable. I just never knew when the next wave of grief was going to come crashing over me. And it could happen at any given moment. And I just don't want people to feel that they're alone in the grieving process, because especially in 2020, we all lost something.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Everybody lost something last year, whether that was a job, finances, an opportunity, a health, our freedom. We lost something. And I just don't want people to feel alone in their losses, because that's where I was at. And so the reason why I wrote the story is because I want to help people heal from their grief. I want people to see that it is possible to go through something so tragic and yet still intentionally choose to heal and then help other people do the same thing.
So if you could share with us, what was the first step for you in your overcoming your grieving? How did you do that? Because like I'm thinking when you said, and thank you for acknowledging the fact that grief can be attached to a human, a situation, an item, a lost opportunity. So thank you for acknowledging that fact. But the biggest grief, of course, is the loss of a child. What was the first step that you did, or what was sometimes call it the aha moment, or that moment where it's like, okay, this step is now going, I'm putting this step in front of myself. What was that for you, Jesse?
I think when I got to the point where I could talk about it,
Beautiful.
that was huge for me, because there was never a moment in my life during that time
Mm-hmm.
where I thought I would ever share what I went through in that hospital room. And once I started to write about it and I started to speak about it, I knew I was heading in the right direction. I still had a long way to go, but I just had this, I had this story I needed to get out, you know, and that's why I do what I do in my business. Is like I coach and teach people how to share their, what I refer to as their freedom story, which was an event in their life that they felt trapped by and chained by. And then the way to set yourself free from it is to face it and to accept it. Doesn't mean that you liked what happened, but you're now willing to use what hurt you, and you're gonna now heal from what hurt you and then help others do the same. So I think healing truly comes from sharing honestly how you feel, good or bad, what you experience, what you learned, and then teaching other people how to do it.
Beautiful. And how was your wife throughout this whole process of, I just can't fathom, and I'm thank you for allowing me to trip over my words today, because this is a subject that to be educated. I lost my dad a little over 4 years ago, and there's still moments that I just look up and I go, "Oh, Dad, if you were only here." And I know it shatters all over again, because I'm my father's daughter. I'm a storyteller. You know how you do those exercises that your I am statements. And when it came right down to it, I am a storyteller. I'm the middle child of 7 of a blended family, and story got us through life. And I just wondered, like, how was your family rallying around you, your wife, if you've got brothers and sisters, you know, moms and dads, and how they played a part in this healing journey for you?
Yeah, I mean, me and my wife, we grieve completely different. So I truly believe that grief is a thumbprint. It's unique to every individual. And during, you know, the first few years of we're going through our grieving process, I think my wife was able to manage it much better than me. For a season, my life became completely unmanageable. It really did. And it's like I was looking to my wife, like that was my first significant loss. Now, I had never lost anyone close to me in my life. My wife had actually gone through significant losses prior, unfortunately. But I think that helped prepare her. Not to say you're ever fully prepared, but she's experienced painful losses before where I never had. And so when it happened to me, it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I just didn't know how to recover. And she was, obviously, she had her days and I had my days, and we were just trying to take care of each other, because we never knew who was going to be the strong one today. We just didn't know. And a lot of times it just wasn't me. It was her.
That's beautiful that they're there for each other. As they say, the biggest pain when you're a parent, I'm a stepmom. I'm not married now, but I have some stepsons that are in their 40s and grandkids, and that they say the worst feeling is like when you bury your children before you go. And I was just having that conversation with a girlfriend today, and I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. My heart shatters for you, but my heart also feels a great stitching up, because you've come out and you've been able to share, and that's going to make a whole bunch of people feel valuable, that someone's out there and listening and words. So where can someone find your book, Jesse?
So people can find my book on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. People can also message me directly. So I am on Instagram, Jesse Cruz Speaks. I'm on Facebook, Jesse Cruz. I'm on Clubhouse, Jesse Cruz Speaks, for people who are on Clubhouse. I'm on TikTok, Jesse Cruz Speaks 42. So social media is a great way to connect with me. For the people who like personalized copies, I'd like to send those out to people. So those are all the best ways to get a hold of the book.
So if you were to say the top 3 people either to purchase your book to gift it, or the top 3 people that would really benefit from this book, like right off the top. And like right off the top, who would be your top 3 people, readers that you would suggest?
Okay. The first one would definitely have to be somebody who has lost a child.
Okay.
Any parent who's lost a child, that's first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the very first person that I would choose.
Okay.
To have that book get into the hands of. The second one would be somebody who is questioning their faith and what they believe in. They're not really sure what they believe spiritually. I think this is a perfect book because throughout my book, I wrestle with my faith and question God and the existence of that many times. So that would be another person I think would be an ideal reader. And the third would be a person who went through some type of crisis or setback or traumatic event and hasn't had the courage to share it publicly.
Okay. And I can almost think I've got a friend, Lori Herchebis, who is a end of life celebration, and she does really unique end of life celebrations to really honor the person. And I think this might be a nice little manual or book to kind of just, slide. I remember when my dad passed away, the funeral home had just this little book, this little tiny book, and they kind of slid it across the table nonchalantly. And I took it home, and there was such great comfort in there. So you know what, Lori, if you're listening, I'd love to connect you up with Jesse, because I think with how you honor people that were once with us, it would be probably a very beneficial book to pass out to people. Well, Jesse, this has been, you mentioned book number 3. Let's not forget about that. That's coming out. So you said something's been placed on your heart again. So if you'd like to let a little bit of the, is it the cat out of the bag or the words out of the book with everybody that's watching tonight?
So yeah, I mean, all the books that I've written have just a very unique, special place in my heart. And this third one is no different. This one actually is going to be my first children's book. It's a completely different style of writing, and so I'm ready to take on the challenge with this new book.
Can you give us a little bit of what's it called when you write a book? I'm thinking thesis, but that's not the right word. Storyline. There you go. The storyline or the plot. Yeah, that's the right word. The plot.
Oh, yeah. So this book, like I said, it's for children, but it's to help children understand losing a loved one. Because I think children don't get that conversation till after they've lost someone they love. And I think they should have that conversation prior, not just get shocked out of nowhere when it happens. Because that's what happened to me. I didn't really have those conversations growing up, So I want to prepare children, if they do lose someone that they love, they have a resource that they can go through and understand what they're feeling and how that's normal.
Beautiful. Promise me when that's done, I get another interview with you, because I have not had, Charmaine, I've had one person since December that has written children's books. So I'd love to share that with my audience as well, because it's a great topic. I know as a child, I think I was about 6 or 7. And when they said, Grandpa passed away yesterday, and it's like, I was like, what? And what does it look like afterwards? Because the family just goes into a whirlwind, after the fact. It's like, okay, where do I belong? Like, where did Grandpa go, and where do I belong? And all of this, it's, in the next week or 2 or 3 or years later, after a loved one passes away. So let's give a little shout out to Miss Lachelle Aikens, America's Supermom, for connecting us up. Jesse, thank you so much for being my guest. I'm going to leave you with the last word about why you write books.
The reason why I write books is because I truly believe that everybody has an amazing story to share with the world. and writing is what helps me get that message out to the world. And for anybody out there listening, whether it's writing a book, whether it's sharing it on a stage or having a conversation with somebody, be bold and brave enough to heal by sharing your story, because your story is your power.
Perfect. You know what? I almost want to do one of those exclamation points, exclamation points, exclamation points, if we were texting back and forth. Thank you so much, Jesse. I'll make sure that in the comments afterwards, Jesse puts a link or somewhere that you can get a hold of him. As you do notice that when I do these interviews, it is Zoom over to my Facebook page. It's not through StreamYard. I really believe being present when somebody is sharing their story is more important than answering questions. But I'm sure Jesse is open to answer any of your questions about this topic, and a direct message as well. And I appreciate him connecting with me as a friend on Facebook, because now I can connect him to a couple of people that I know need to have your book, Jesse. So thank you everybody again for joining me for another edition of the MYBC Virtual Bookstore Author Series. Grab a book, grab a coffee, cuddle up. You'll never know what a book is going to do to change your life, take you someplace where you've never been, or put you in a situation that's going to better your life. So thank you so much again for joining me tonight.